WrestleMania 23, Battle of the Billionaires. What's the conversations you're having with Vince and with Donald Trump beforehand, leading up to this match that you know all eyes are going to be on? It's not just wrestling fans.
Yes. It was funny. It was funny all the way through it because you just watch these two like powerhouses like talk to each other. So they're going back and forth. I remember, and they're on top of everything. Like I remember there was an iconic photo that we had where Vince and Trump were sitting down on a chair, and then we were standing above them, and then so Austin was in the middle. I think everybody was in there crammed into this picture. And I remember it was something so small, but you saw these two, Vince and Trump, and both of them they want to be leaders here. And we were trying to figure out how we were going to sit because they initially had it, which I don't think made any sense. Somebody put it down on paper that me and Umaga were supposed to sit in the chairs and have those guys standing with their hands on our shoulders, and then Stone Cold in the middle and them looking at each other. So little things like that are huge, you know? And then Trump was like, no, I don't think we should do this. I think we should sit down, and based on the way this angle's right here, it makes me look old. So it catches this. I don't want to see that. Let's go here. Vince was like, I want to do this. And we're sitting there looking at it. I was like, all right, I'll stand wherever you guys want me to stand, you know? So when we put it all together with these two guys, they were able to work together, and then we put it together and the picture came out perfect. I think it was right the way it should have been.
Did you show Trump how to do that clothesline?
No, but I can tell you, I remember the backstage, I think Vince was saying it, and Vince was like, Trump, because Trump wanted to be a part of it. He wanted to do something. He was like, I want to beat somebody up or something like that. And I think Vince's whole thing was like, when he starts punching me, I'm going to put my head down so he can punch my head. That's the hardest part of my head. So it's going to hurt his hand. And I think there was something in there. But those guys, I think everybody wanted to do something in that match and be a part of that match. So I don't know who told them to do it. I don't know when they told them to do it. But leading into that match, there wasn't supposed to be any altercation. But I guess they may have talked, or somebody talked, and they figured out, okay, we'll do a little clothesline because that could be easy, and then jump on top of them in the punching. I don't know where it came from, but that's what they decided to do.
So you didn't even know?
I didn't know.
How come every time there's a hair versus hair match, the razor never works? Like, it's always like figuring this out. What's going on here?
Man, and then it's hard. I was like, how are you guys going to get the clippers down there? Because there's not too many wireless clippers. So I was like, we got to plug it up someplace. And then, I remember the hardest thing with that was afterwards when we had it, you know, Vince lost. You got to catch Vince. We got to grab Vince and put him into the ring. I was like, Vince is a big dude, you know, so just picking him up, putting him in the ring, it's going to be hard in itself. So when we are there celebrating, they all look up and they go, Vince is running and he's halfway up the ramp. And I was like, well, somebody's got to go get him. Everybody looks at me. I was like, oh. so I go running up there. So now, you know, if you catch him, then you got to walk all the way back down with him. So I grabbed him. I was like, where you going there? It's like, I almost got away. So, no, you didn't. Woo. So I pick him up and I'm walking down. So first I just finished this match. Then I got to go catch Vince. Then I got to pick him up. And then I got to bring him back to the ring. So I was blown up by the time I got back to the ring. I pushed him in there. Y'all take him. But there are so many. I mean, that's what wrestling is all about. Every time we have matches, there's always like little nuances like that we know about, that we laugh about. That's why we have these interviews later, so we could be able to tell the crowd what happened. They can watch them back and say, oh, okay, well, we see it. But there's always little things like that we're going through. Like I remember I slammed Vince on a table at Trump Towers during it, because that's what some of the talks. He just wanted to make this thing as big as possible. When Trump came through, he was like, the first thing he said, he's like, this is you guys' world, so I'm not trying to step in it, but you just let me know what I can do to make this thing bigger. And he was like, whatever I need to do, if I need to make some calls to people, bring people in, if we need to use the tower, just tell me what I need to do to be able to make this work. So that's where he came from. And we were like, all right, cool. Because we thought, you know, most of the time when people come into wrestling, they're like, oh, I want this big spot where I'm just bumping everybody and beating everybody up. And so we kind of like construct it where we make them look like stars. Some people hate in the wrestling business. Other people are like, oh, let's just have fun with it. So I see both sides. But for him, he was just like, let me know what I can do. Let me be a part of it. And, you know, if you're in wrestling, you want to do something wrestling related.